At 12 years old, my father started showing his lust for me. When I was only 12 years old, he used to come to my bedroom, and he would begin to caress me. I'm 25 years old, born and raised in Nakuru town, northwest of Nairobi. I grew up in an average family with my mother and father. I loved and enjoyed studying, but because my family could not afford school fees, it was very difficult for me, so I would ask my father for school fees because he was the least able to give them to me. Once in a while he told me that there was something we had to agree on first so he could think about giving me school fees. He did not ask me to do school exercises or what I had learned or become number one in class, as many parents ask their children. This case did not start now because my father showed me signs even before I started school, but I didn't understand the signs because I was still a little girl. At 12 years old, my father started showing his lust for me. When I was only 12 years old, he used to come to my bedroom, and he would begin to caress me. It came to a point where he couldn't stop himself and came on me with all his strength. Oh yeah, you heard me right, I was in junior high school then, so he came to my bed and said he wanted to sleep with me. His motive to sleep with me was because they had kicked me out of school, so he told me that we had to sleep before he paid my school fees. As depressing as it sounds, I also found myself agreeing to sleep with my father, and it didn't happen once because he came back the second time when they kicked me out of school again. By then, when I came from school, he was home, so I told him that they sent me out for school fees, and he said to me that we should sleep first. I agreed because I love school so much that I didn't want anything to stop me from going to school. For the third time we were at home, I told him about another problem I had with school, and he said that if I wanted him to solve my problem, we should have slept together. However, this time I refused and said no to him, saying that it wouldn't happen again. I would rather stay at home and stop my studies if necessary. But he continued to force me, saying that I should change my mind, otherwise, I would never study again. Therefore, I found myself sleeping with him again. And that's when he made me pregnant. I never screamed or even asked for help. All the times my dad abused me, he had threatened me not to tell anyone that we were sleeping together. He scared me enough to the point that I couldn't tell anyone, not even my mother. I decided to protect my mother's and friends' lives so my father would not kill us all because I was really afraid of him. Because I was young, I did not know I had become pregnant. I continued to stay at home until the pregnancy grew. I showed my father, and he prevented me from telling anyone about it. However, my father got so scared and ran away from home. When my mother noticed the pregnancy, she asked who had impregnated me, and I kept quiet because I was afraid that if I told my mother, my father would come back and kill us all. A few weeks after I gave birth, my father came back home. After giving birth, I approached my father and told him I wanted to return to school since I delivered the baby. He told me that if I wanted to continue studying, I had to sleep with him again, saying he would love me to have his child again if I wanted to return to school. He had never offered me any other money apart from school fees. I didn't tell my mother or my friends because I was afraid of what my father told me I would do. I felt disgusted. I released my fears and had a brave heart to say it. By then, she wanted to die because she was tired of the violence her father had subjected to her. After all, she always wondered what she had done to her father that made him abuse her to that extent. After getting tired of being abused, I told him I would never sleep with him again and left. Therefore, I went to the village chief. I told him about what my father did to me and explained that the child I had was my father's. He immediately broke into tears because it was complicated for him to understand. He asked me if my mother was at home. I told him my mother had gone to work. He immediately called her, and my mother came. As soon as my mother heard the story, she fell into a coma. They told us to go to court. When we reached court, they told us to write a statement of what my father did to me, and we immediately wrote it. So the trial started. We went to court every day for days, but my father denied everything, so the judge ordered the DNA test to see if the child was his. When we left court, we were worried about where the money to do the test would come from. But the village leader gave us the money, and we did the DNA test in 3 days. The test was ready, and it was sent to the court. They called us, and so I went with my mother and some of her friends. They read the results, and it said that the child is his. My father was immediately imprisoned, but he told my mother he would kill me if he got released. I never understood what I did to my father in order for him to treat me this way. All I wanted was to go to school like any other child, but look at what my father did to me. I am still scared of what my father might do to us when he is released. I think I would seek asylum somewhere else, but there is no money for that. If you have any advice on what we should do, I will be listening in the comment section because I am really scared of what he might do.